Today was a very, very exciting day with over 53 brand new DC projects now in development that James Gunn and Peter Safran, but really James Gunn in terms of creativity, will have a say over, including a Val Zod Superman film, a Keanu Reeves led Constantine sequel, a Justice League Dark Universe, as well as the brand new DC Universe Reboot lineup. This is a perfect way to start talking about movie news on this channel, and it's what I wanted to do for a long time, and it's with this brand new DCU lineup of animated films, live action TV show, and brand new movies. And I got to say my first reactions is that I'm very, very excited about the brand new projects not only announced today, but that have been in development, which I've just found out today, to be honest. A lot of these I didn't know were in development, and they're still greenlit, they're not cancelled. A lot of them are coming out, but we're going to get into that. But first, I wanted to quickly go over the original DC movie slate lineup that could have been, with Zack Snyder at the helm and some other producers and studio heads over at DC. So in 2013 we got Man of Steel. In 2016 we got Batman vs Superman, which was a disappointment, but I've got to say I've just recently watched literally about 4 weeks ago I watched Batman vs Superman, the 4K Ultra HD Ultimate Cut, which I've never ever watched before. The only time I've watched this movie was in theater, but the Ultimate Cut was great. It wasn't phenomenal, but I gave the movie like a 4 out of 10 when I first watched it. It was dreadful in my opinion, but really this cut at least bring it up to a 6 out of 10, but I would give it a 7 out of 10 because now I was 17 at the time, now I'm 24, and I really appreciate the cinematography that Zack Snyder does. Everything about this movie, there's so much to it that was so great, especially like the stuff I've already seen, but watching it in 4K Ultra HD and just getting more context with scenes really did bring it up for me personally. And I also rewatched Suicide Squad. I'm trying to rewatch like the entire DC movie slate so far, but Suicide Squad, that was still a bit of a bore, which was a disappointment, but it did do quite well, the first one. It was especially with Harley Quinn making a household name. In 2017 we got Wonder Woman, the first one, which was great, and we also got Justice League Part 1. I can't remember if this is this did come out at that time. Justice League Part 1, which flopped. It was terrible. 2018 we were supposed to get the Flash movie, and we were supposed to get, I think we did get an Aquaman movie, and there was going to be an entitled DC film, which could have been the solo Batman vs Deathstroke film, or Man of Steel 2. In 2019 there's supposed to be Shazam. I'm not sure, I can't remember what dates we actually got. Did we actually get Shazam then? And there was also supposed to be Justice League Part 2. Oh man, I wish we got the sequel. Well, I wish the first one was the Snyder Cut and 2019 was Snyder's Part 2, but unfortunately that never happened. And there was also going to be another untitled DC film. Maybe it would have been a sequel to Wonder Woman, or maybe again Batman, or a second Man of Steel. In 2020 we were supposed to get Cyborg, and the final movie was going to be Green Lantern Corps. So far we did get Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam in 2019, Birds of Prey, a Harley Quinn movie, Wonder Woman 84, which I still haven't watched, The Suicide Squad, which was phenomenal, by James Gunn of course, Peacemaker as well by James Gunn, and that show is absolutely fantastic, Black Adam, which was great. I really did like Black Adam. A lot of people, it wasn't that great of a movie, but it's one of those movies you don't even have to think, it's just a good old action film. I thought it was great. Flash we're going to be getting this year in November time, Aquaman 2 this year, and there was going to be a Batgirl film, and it was cancelled unfortunately. We're going to be getting Shazam Fury of the Gods, Blue Beetle, Green Lantern Corps was cancelled, the show, the Green Lantern Corps show, and Black Canary was also cancelled as well. So let's go on to the future of DC. So everything that's in the mainline DCU, I think it's going to be called DCU, not DCEU anymore, will be connected to a big overall story similar to Marvel's Infinity Saga and how everything led up to Endgame. However, movies like Matt Reeves' Batman, and Todd Phillips' Joker, anything else that does not connect to the mainline DCU like those movies will be clearly labeled as DC Elseworld. So they will be Elseworld stories, meaning stories set on a different Earth and currently do not fit into the DC universe plans. This will be for all media, so if there are animated films, video games, DC shows and on TV that do not connect to the DC universe, they will be labeled as Elseworld stories. But before James Gunn's universe can truly start, the old universe has to end. So the upcoming movies that will be released over the next year are Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods, coming on the 17th of March 2023. James Gunn says that Shazam has always been off in his own corner of the DCU. I don't think James has any plans for Shazam at the moment, but Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, is close with James, so he may or may not keep him as Shazam when he feels it's time to bring Shazam into his new DC universe. The Flash, which will be a Flashpoint movie, is coming out this year, and this movie is apparently a really good film, and even after everything Ezra Miller has done, they haven't cancelled this movie, as the studio has put hundreds of millions of pounds, hundreds of millions of dollars into this, and people who have seen versions of this film have called it an incredible film, and there's even like a statement that this is going to be one of the best superhero films of all time. So that is that's a massive expectations on this movie now. I'm excited for The Flash, our first live action Flash film, I believe. I've never seen any Flash film. The only live action one I've seen is the CW one, and I love Grant Gustin as the Flash. Now, this movie will also reset the DC universe as stated by Mr. Gunn himself. So it'll actually be a massive movie for the future of DC and the new DC universe. If we want to know how these events change, how the world change, the events in this movie actually erase the old and bring in the new. Now, I really want a new actor to play the Flash, as the drama with Ezra Miller was insane. Now, I believe a different actor deserves the role of the Flash, and also if you recast Henry Cavill but you keep Ezra Miller, especially after the numerous things Ezra Miller has done, I would be really angry and upset with James Gunn and Peter Safran. But I 99% believe he will be recast, as he is a liability for the studio. And also at the end of the Flash movie, we probably won't see the Flash's face when he enters this new universe. So I think there might be like, let's just say he runs really fast and restarts the universe, and then we just see like his shoes, like his golden boots, or some guy in a new Flash outfit, and it kind of looks like it's Ezra Miller's Flash, but we can't see his face, like it's just like a behind him shot, and then someone looks at him, or he looks in the mirror but we can't see, and he's just like, it's changed, my face has changed. something more cooler than that. Or we'll see him enter this new universe, realize things are different, and he just starts feeling funny, and his hands are like vibrating so fast as they fade away, and he kind of gets like Thanos, and this new universe, it's already got its new Flash, it's got a Flash in this universe, and because he reset the universe, he kind of reset himself, and he just fades away, and we're in a new universe and the movie ends. It could go something like that, or it could end with him running so fast, resetting the universe, and the screen goes white and the movie just ends and picks up in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the next movie for the DCU. Well, actually the next movie would be Blue Beetle, but I'm talking about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Aquaman 2. Now, I don't know how this works, because there are rumors that Jason Momoa may not be coming back as Aquaman, but as a different character. Maybe Aquaman 2 takes place before the Flash, because it is coming out after the Flash, and if the Flash is rebooting the DC universe, then how is Aquaman 2 after the Flash? Shouldn't that be before? Unless they're going to keep Jason as Aquaman, or the movie is set before the event of the Flash, like the beginning of the movie or majority of the movie. However, the end of the movie is going to show how, from Aquaman's perspective, or how another perspective of the universe, which would be Aquaman's perspective on how the universe has changed. And Aquaman also fades away, and Atlantis fades away, and the universe is just kind of like erased. And that was because of the events of Flash, which kind of show, oh, now we've seen the Flash reset the universe, and now in Aquaman we see that, yes, the entire universe has been reset. The movie before Aquaman and after the Flash would be Blue Beetle, which is still in the slate of these old movies that James Gunn never really greenlit, but were still in production. They kind of already have been made. But we are also going to be getting a Blue Beetle film that seems like it's already going to be separate and could actually be the first real movie of the new DC universe. But James Gunn actually goes over it so fast, like it's nothing really exciting. So he may choose not to use Blue Beetle, or maybe he'll keep the actor. Who really knows at this point? So after these 4 movies are done, now the new DC universe will start with Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, which will be the first phase of the DC universe, similar to how Marvel has phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then its saga is like the Infinity Saga. This will have phase, but each phase will be called something. So phase 1, chapter 1, and it will have a subtitle with Gods and Monsters, which is an incredible title, and you can see the theme of this, Gods and Monsters, within these new projects that James Gunn announced. James Gunn and Peter Safran have started to map out 8 to 10 years of the future of the DCU, an 8 to 10 year plan. But James Gunn's contract with DC is actually reportedly only 4 years long, which will be extended if things go well. But if they don't, well, then they'll imagine if they don't go well and they axe him and they have to find someone else. That would just be so messy. I mean, the DCU would go into a mess again. So hopefully things go well. I cannot stress this enough. I really want things to go well. I want everything to be amazing. This is going to expand across film, TV, animation, and gaming. This is not everything within Chapter 1, so there is more to reveal, and it probably will be revealed during Comic Cons and different DC fandom events and stuff like that. So a lot is to be announced, casting is to be announced and stuff, so there is so much more information. But what we got so far is actually massive, and I did not expect to get this much project. So let's start going into the projects.
The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
So Creature Commandos, a animated TV show which seemingly is linked to the Suicide Squad, as we see Weasel, who survived at the end of the Suicide Squad, he is making a return into this show. So that kind of confirms that as some actors, some characters will remain in this universe. So we also got some brand new news after the announcement of this show. We actually got some heavy news, some details, some casting, the cast of this show in terms of its characters. So Creature Commandos is still in early stages of production, but since Gunn has already written all episodes, he decided to reveal which characters from the comic book series we can expect to see in the series. He reveals 7 characters that integrate the main cast, including Rick Flag Sr., which, wow, Rick Flag's dad or grandfather is making a return. I mean, Rick Flag is making a return. Imagine if it's the same actor that played Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad. I forgot his name, but he also played RoboCop as well. Nina Mazursky, Dr. Phosphorus, Eric Frankenstein, G.I. Robot, and Weasel. Gunn also confirmed that the lead character will be the Bride of Frankenstein. This information came from the Collider. Creature Commandos will kick off with Amanda Waller, once again played by Viola Davis, creating a Black Ops team formed by monstrous creatures. During the press conference in which the future of the DC was revealed, Safran praised Gunn's writing of the series and stated that he's staggered at the caliber of the scripts. We'll see how everything else comes, but the screenplays are amazing. The reveal of Creature Commandos' cast of characters already points to some possible connections in the upcoming DC universe. Dr. Phosphorus is one of Batman villains from the comic book, and the duo reveal that Batman, Robin, and the extended Batman family are coming to our screens in a new iteration, but Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's Batman trilogy will keep on rolling as Elseworld stories, as an Elseworld project. The premise of Creature Commandos also has an obvious Suicide Squad connection, but since Gunn is the one handling both, it's safe to say that the writer-director will make each Outcast group distinct enough to keep the story fresh, which I'm really, really excited about. I mean, can you believe that our first project, our first inkling, our first piece of media and content of this brand new DC universe is a team that nobody knows? That is literally what James Gunn does. That's what everyone was saying. Will he really like introduce like these small characters? You know, is he actually gonna do that? That's what people are actually afraid of. You know, it's crazy. Like, he's giving like these characters again, like these small characters that nobody knows. He wants to put them on the stage, but also respecting that yes, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern all have to also come into the story. They are the main cast of this DC universe, but he also has to give that James Gunn. You know, I love new characters. I think a lot of the new characters, especially this show and some of the other upcoming shows that we're going to talk about, they really do excite me. And the way he speaks about them and the stories behind them, I am really intrigued. Of course, we've got to be cautious. You know, you can't expect millions of people to watch a show like this, but these characters, hopefully we will see them, as James Gunn says, we will see these characters crossover between different forms of movies and TV shows and games, and usually, not all the time, but hopefully most of the time, we will get the same actor voicing the character as they play them in live action and animated shows and stuff like that. So it will be really connected.
The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it.
The second project is Waller, a live-action TV show that will have Viola Davis back in the role of Amanda Waller. This will connect well with Creature Commandos, and it's live action. The story is going to be by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. So really strong writers, strong creators behind this show. I recently rewatched both Suicide Squad movies and also the Peacemaker show, and I really love Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. So them not recasting her, I think, is a good decision. I think she's really good at the role of Amanda Waller, to be honest. And with those guys attached to the show again, this could be very, very good. The third project, which he never actually said in the lineup, was Peacemaker Season 2. It was announced right after Season 1, and the cast will return for Season 2. And it's strange why James Gunn didn't really mention Peacemaker. Maybe Season 2 is the final season. That's going to be hopefully released, I think, this year or next year. I'm thinking this year. Hopefully this year. I really am excited for Season 2.
Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
The fourth project is what he says is going to be the true kind of start to the DC universe. And that is, of course, Superman Legacy. The film, the live action film, written by James Gunn himself, releasing on July 11th, 2025. Unfortunately, it will not be starring Henry Cavill as the Cape Crusader. And yes, that breaks my heart. It's been breaking my heart ever since it was announced. But we have to move on, people. We have to move on, and we hope that somehow, some way in the future, we can get Sam Henry back as Superman. I think he will come back in a multiversal story when they get to that point in the DC universe. But right now, he's going to be in the Warhammer show, so that's all good. Rumored to be the early years of Superman movie without being an origin story. He will be starting at the Daily Planet. It will be a young Superman, a young Clark Kent. Superman will be balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. So that is what we got on Superman. Really nothing much, but we did get a release date, and the fact that it's been written by James Gunn and it's an early years Superman film, which was rumored. But again, very excited that this is happening, man. He actually announced Superman Legacy. We are getting finally a Superman film. So the next big thing for this movie is finding out who exactly is going to be playing Superman, and more about, of course, what the story is going to be.
Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU.
The next project is Lanterns, a HBO live action show with both Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, along with some other Lanterns. But the fact that, you know, we all thought, which Lantern are we going to have in this new DC universe? Is it going to be Jon Stewart, or is it going to be Hal Jordan? And James Gunn has just given us both of them, along with, as he says, he's going to pepper some of the Lanterns into this show. Now, this show is going to be a space cop style show in the form of a kind of True Detective as they watch over Precinct Earth. So the tone of this show is hopefully going to be quite dark, and it's a terrestrial based TV show, so an intergalactic, you know, in space. So I really hope that the budget for this show is going to be good. You know, they've got to have a high budget for this, especially with going to space. They have to do this right. I mean, it's Green Lantern. It's our first time seeing Green Lantern properly in live action since the Ryan Reynolds movies. And this is the show we will get the first hint at what the massive threat of the DC universe will be, and what this threat will lead to, the Justice League, or beyond that, Justice League Infinity War Endgame style movies, where I assume the Justice League and the entire Green Lantern Corps and some other Lantern Corps and the Authority and the Creature Commandos and Suicide Squad all team together against whoever the big threat is, or a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, even where they can get multiverse versions. You know, this is now spanning, you know, for the next 20-30 years of the DCU. Hopefully not 30, hopefully within the next 15-20 years, hopefully. Where we can get multiverse versions and bring past versions back, and of course Henry Cavill back as Superman, you know, hopefully. But the next project is another project that, I mean, I'm excited for all of these, I've got to be honest. There's not one here that I'm not excited about. And the next one is...
Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU, and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes.
Is The Authority film. Now, I got no idea who The Authority was, and I did do a little bit of research, but this is seemingly a passion project of James Gunn, another unknown team that he will hopefully make a household name. I don't know if he can, but that's the hope. I mean, it's going to be a film, so this ain't an animated show like the Creature Commandos. This is going to be a film, so this is more likely to become a household name, and hopefully is marketed the right way. He points out that these guys will interact with all the primary DC universe characters, so they seemingly will have a very important role in the DC universe. He says that they think the world is broken, and they want to fix it by any means necessary, so they will go too far sometimes. Some more information about them that I did research on, and I found this on DCFandom.com. The Authority is a team of superheroes with extreme methods, formed out of the remnants of Stormwatch. They care little for politics and law, doing instead whatever it takes to get the job done. Following the decimation of Stormwatch and the destruction of Skywatch by an alien infestation, former member of Stormwatch Black, Jenny Sparks, created the Authority alongside her Stormwatch Black teammates, Swift and Jack Hawksmoor, with the goal to change the world, no matter what it takes. I'm really excited for this. I've loved James Gunn's team-up movies so far with Guardians and Suicide Squad, so hopefully we get some really good characters. He's really good at making like each character stand out and have its own personality. And again, just like we said for Creature Commandos, because he's written all these team up movies so far. So he's written Guardians, Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos, and now The Authority as well. He will find a way, hopefully, to make them all very different. Suicide Squad is very different to Guardians, and hopefully Suicide Squad will be very different. I mean, Creatures Commando will be very different to the Suicide Squad, and The Authority will be very different to the Creature Commandos and everything that's come before it. So it's going to be very, very different style of superheroes, as well as they will take extreme methods. So it's a different form of superheroes, a different take on these heroes that I don't think we've seen yet in the DCU.
We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
However, another massive show is going to be Paradise Lost, a live-action TV show, which is going to be a Game of Thrones style Wonder Woman show set on Themyscira. From the image James Gunn showed off, it had an Amazon warrior, Wonder Woman. It did look like Wonder Woman, but I'm not 100% sure, with her sword in the neck of some warrior man. So you want strong female leads. I know Hollywood loves that, they go for it. They try to make everything strong females leads, but this is the show to do it. Also, I would love a lot of the warriors from the Zack Snyder Justice League in the Themyscira scenes to be a part of this universe Themyscira, because they looked amazing. They were the female warriors that actually looked and made you believe they were badass warriors. I really hope some of the I don't know if they are actors who were in the Zack Snyder Themyscira scenes. It was just so believable. They looked amazing. I can't stress how amazing and badass they look. So hopefully they get some of those women back and just make it look as amazing as that was, but more darker, more bloody, and more gory. And having this show being the origin of Wonder Woman, it's gonna be amazing.
The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU.
The next project, Batman, the Brave and the Bold, my favorite superhero of all time. Finally, we are getting a Batman and Robin movie. Damian Wayne, who is a trained killer by his grandfather Ra's al Ghul and his mother Talia al Ghul, and the League of Assassins. Batman will have to teach him the ways of not killing, even though it will be his instinct. Oh my goodness, man. I can't believe it. I'm so happy. You don't understand how happy I am. Batman and Robin, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally getting Batman and freaking Robin. And it's the actual blood son of the Batman. And this will also introduce and help set up the Bat family, baby. And is also a perfect movie for Nightwing to appear. Dick Grayson Nightwing. And hopefully get a spin-off live action show or movie. Oh my god, I cannot wait. And I gotta be honest, this seems perfect. This Batman seems perfect for Ben Affleck to return as the Bat, but I know he won't return for this. You gotta recast, I get that. But 99% we will get a new actor, and I want to do a video on like 10 actors who can be the new Batman. But I'm gonna throw a couple names out right now. Scott Adkins, who was in the Undisputed movies, who played Yuri Boyka, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Soldier Boy himself, Jensen Ackles. I think those three gentlemen, all of them, could be a great Batman for this new universe, especially with now we know the style of the Batman, which kind of version of Batman we're going to be getting. As we see a fatherly Batman for the first time in live action, I assume, yes, because we haven't really had a fatherly kind of Batman, and will probably be around his mid to late 30s. I don't think he's going to be like past 40, to be honest. Damian Wayne is very young, so it could be like, he had a fling with Talia in his mid 20s, and now he's in his mid 30s or something like that. So not that old, but kind of in his prime, I'd say. A prime Batman, perfect for Justice League stuff, and when it goes crazy with cosmic stuff, and if they go crazy with Darkseid in the future, it's exciting. But the next project is
Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series.
Booster Gold, the live action show. This just has the potential of having Booster Gold being everyone's favorite hero. I hope this is a big show. I really want him to be a big character. I think he's a really fun character to have. This could be the show to make Booster Gold a household name. I wouldn't even mind like a Booster Gold movie, but the fact that they're going in the live action show, we're going to be seeing a lot more Booster Gold. We're going to have hopefully 6+ episodes, 9+ episodes with Booster Gold live action, hopefully like 40 minutes each or something like that. So I'm excited for Booster Gold.
One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character.
The next project is one that I did not expect at all. I did not know we were going to be getting a Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I did not expect a Supergirl movie this, in the first chapter of the DC universe. But with what James Gunn says, I already love the direction he's going to be going in this movie. A Supergirl who has seen the destruction of her planet and describes her as being jaded. I've never seen this version of Supergirl personally. I've never seen her. And for her not to have a similar story to Superman as which my version of Supergirl did, Supergirl, the CW show. That's when I think of Supergirl, I think of Melissa Benoist, I forgot her name. I don't know how to pronounce it. But Supergirl, that's my Supergirl, and she was she had a very similar story to Clark Kent. I loved it, I did love it. It's a CW show, the flaws with it, but it did have some very, very good moments as well. But this again is one of my most anticipated movies to have this completely different direction of Supergirl. When he first said he was making a Supergirl movie, I was like, back in my mind I was kind of like, oh god. And then he explained the actual story that he's adapting, and just like this version of Supergirl that I'm just like, yes, I want that. Also, it could be a recast from the Supergirl that we will be seeing in the Flash movie. So, of course, we don't know the casting. So, it may still be the Supergirl from the Flash movie, or it could be someone brand new. I would think that he would recast someone new for this, as this project seems like very later in the future, probably 2027, 2020. If the Superman movie comes at 2025, maybe this 2027, 2028 even. And then the final project of this slate of DC Universe, the first announcement slate of this chapter 1. So this again is not everything. This is just a partial amount of projects.
And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about. A very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories.
The final project is Swamp Thing, a horror film DC Universe movie. This is going to be tonally different from everything in the DC Universe. The Swamp Thing show got incredible views but was cancelled. So now, straight away, we are going to be getting a Swamp Thing movie. He announced a Swamp Thing movie. I think that is just incredible, and I'm very, very happy with the direction of James Gunn has got. I mean, who would have thought that half of these shows would be like in the first slate? You would have never guessed these types of shows and movies that would be in the first slate. It's just so James Gunn to have like these characters like Swamp Thing and the creature, I forgot what that first team was called, the Authority, definitely, and what was that first show called, Creature Commandos. Like, that is so James Gunn to have those in the first slate. And I'm sure there's going to be some other characters that, this entire slate hasn't been shown yet, so there are definitely going to be other characters that are not known that are going to be part of this slate. And I'm just so excited with the Batman and Superman and Supergirl stuff, and even like the Wonder Woman, which seems like they will recast Wonder Woman as well, and it won't be Gal Gadot as everything, most likely with all these things, they're going to be casting very young, not very young or like kids, but very young actors. So that's one of the reasons why they couldn't get Henry. You know, they didn't want to move forward with Henry is because he's kind of getting very older, and they probably want an actor in the mid to late 20s to play Superman, and that's the future that they're going with half of these characters. James Gunn also states at the end of the video,
anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Now, one of the complaints of the Marvel movies is that tonally all the movies feel the same, and I kind of feel like episodes to one big series instead of feeling like tonally different movies like they did at the start of the universe. So James Gunn wants to ensure that all of these movies feel unique to what the creators and directors and writers have visioned. So now let's move on to the Elseworld projects DC has coming up, and we're going to start with the higher budget projects first, with number one being The Batman Part 2 coming October 3rd, 2025. Now this is Matt Reeves' Batman starring Robert Pattinson, and it's officially branded The Batman Part 2 and also will be branded as a DC Elseworlds movie. When they revealed the title for this movie at, I think it was CinemaCon or something, it was blue. So I'm thinking we're either getting Mr. Freeze as the main villain, which I'm hoping for, or we could be getting Penguin as the main villain of this movie, and or we could also be getting a lot of different villains in this movie, just like part 1 had a whole variety of different villains. And also this movie was announced as a trilogy, so the Batman Part 3 is also confirmed to be coming. So this will be the Matt Reeves Batman trilogy, and I hope we get more beyond that too. The second project is The Penguin, HBO live action show starring Colin Farrell, which will be a standalone Penguin show written by Matt Reeves in the world of the Batman movies. So this is something that will connect to the Batman movies, and it could lead into him being the main villain of the second movie or the third movie. I'm thinking maybe the second, if his show, I'm sure his show will come out before the Batman Part 2 releases. So that is something that I'm very looking forward to in terms of the Elseworld and all these Matt Reeves projects that are in this Batman universe. I'm so excited, with the next show being the Gotham PD series, which has also kind of been changed to the Arkham Asylum series, which is going to be a HBO live action show, a show centering around Jim Gordon and the Gotham PD taking on inmates of Arkham Asylum. And yeah, apparently first it was being called Gotham PD, and now it's something along the lines of Arkham Asylum. So that's something that, again, these Batman projects I'm very excited for. Number 4 will be Joker Folie à Deux, coming October 4th, 2024, starring Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn and Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. The movie will be a musical, and I thought it was coming out this year, to be honest, but it's coming out next year, and I love the first film, and a musical just fits the style of this movie. And I also hope for a third film which also has a different style of becoming a different genre of movie, as this one was a musical and the last one was kind of like a psychological thriller. And I hope the next one goes full on horror, with the Joker becomes completely crazy. Now, the following information is from themarysue.com, with the 5th project being Dead Boy Detectives. Now, this is set to be a spin-off series of Doom Patrol and has officially been ordered by HBO Max. Things are coming together nicely, with Lee Toland Krieger set to direct and George Rexdrew and Jaden Reverie set to star as the Dead Boy Detectives, Edwin Payne and Charles Rowland respectively. The horror series follows 2 dead British teens who remain on Earth as ghostly detectives investigating supernatural occurrences. It's unclear if the series is still in development following the cancellation of Doom Patrol. It wasn't mentioned during Gunn and Safran's announcement. But maybe because Doom Patrol was very, very successful, they may keep this show. And you can just label this stuff as Elseworlds now, so that there's always that thing. That's one of the best thing, the biggest advantages DC have over the Marvel universe, which I hope Marvel has some kind of black label announced soon. I think we really need like those movies that are not attached to the universe with Marvel, but I'm so happy that DC have an option for that, and are going to be taking a lot of projects in that direction. Number 6 is the Zatana live action film. Now, a Zatana film was reportedly to be in development by Warner Bros. In 2021, with Emerald Fennell writing the script. Other than Fennell's hiring, no other updates have been given about the film. However, with Batgirl being cancelled, the DCEU is desperately in need of some female-led films, which means our fingers are crossed for Zatana. Last we heard, a planned show was scrapped at HBO Max. So we're talking about the live action film, which could still go on, and again, it could be an Elseworlds film. And the fact that it hasn't been cancelled outright yet, there could still be life to this. And yeah, give us. I would definitely watch a Zatana film. I think we do need those kind of characters. I really want to see more of the DC characters. And if they're not connected to the main DCU, if James Gunn doesn't have plans for them in the main DCU, like I would say, like characters like Zatana, then I would think he would allow for Zatana to have her own movie that is an Elseworld movie. Number 7 is the Static Shock live action show. A live action Static Shock film was revealed to be in development last year as a joint project between Warner Bros. And Michael B. Jordan's production company, Outlier Society. Later, it was announced that Jordan had joined the production team and Randy McKinnon was tapped to write the film. In the comic, Static Shock is a teenager named Virgil Ovid Hawkins who gains electromagnetic powers and sets off to fight crime. And I'm sure I've watched this cartoon when I was a kid, and again, an Elseworld project, and even this wasn't really going to be a part of the DCEU, the universe before James Gunn. This was kind of already going to be a standalone project, it seems. So I would say that one's got some life to it. And again, half of these shows haven't really been cancelled outright, so I'm thinking there is a lot of life to them at the moment. Aqualad is the next project, an Aqualad live action show. HBO Max is developing an Aqualad series reportedly based on the graphic novel You Brought Me the Ocean and set to be produced by Charlize Theron. The story follows Jake Hyde, a gay teenager who is navigating grief after his father's death and struggling to understand the powers he has from the ocean. It is unclear if this series will be connected at all to the DCEU's Aquaman, and its current status is unknown. And I didn't know that an Aqualad series was even in development, but in the Titan show in season 3, there was Aqualad in that, so I am familiar slightly with the Aqualad character, but I had no idea. Another one that I had no idea was in development was number 9 project, Our Man, the live action film. Now, Our Man is the superhero alias of Rex Tyler, a chemist who accidentally developed a drug called Miraclo that granted him superpowers for exactly 1 hour after consumption. Rex Tyler was a founding member of the Justice Society of America and often struggled with balancing his responsibilities as a hero and as a father to his son Rick Tyler, who would eventually take up the mantle of Our Man himself. That just sounds great. I love that kind of story, and I really want to see that kind of story being taken in one of these films. The only names currently attached to Our Man are the writing duo of Gavin James and Neil Widener. The pair's past works have included the script for Now You See Me 3 and the film adaptation of Michael Crichton's novel Micro. This is not the first time the writing team has worked with Warner Bros., as they previously hired to write the Hot Wheels screenplay. That was from Screen Rant. Now, no details of this movie's release and its status is also currently unknown. The next project is one that I am so excited for, and it's Constantine 2, the live action film, the sequel to Constantine 1, starring Keanu Reeves, where Keanu Reeves is returning as Constantine, and this was greenlit recently. And Keanu Reeves wanted to make a Constantine sequel for a long time, and now he is going to reprise his role. I don't know if this is going to be connected to the DC universe. I doubt it. I think this would definitely be an Elseworld story, but apparently J.J. Abrams was working on a Justice League Dark universe that was separate from the DCEU, so that may still go on, and this could be the first project within that. So far, Reeves is the only cast member confirmed to be returning for Constantine 2. Constantine director Francis Lawrence is returning to direct Constantine 2, with Akiva Goldsman writing the screenplay and Abrams producing. So J.J. Abrams is attached to this, he's producing it. So this could very much be still a part of that Justice League Dark universe that J.J. Abrams was working on. That is its own, basically it's another DC universe that could be labeled Elseworld, Justice League Dark, and have its own universe that's going on, which is separate to the new DC universe, and also separate, which it will be connected in a way. All these Justice League Dark movies will be connected, and these shows will be connected, but that would, so they're not necessarily standalone projects, but it's basically a second universe for DC if this is true, and if they still are developing the Justice League Dark stuff. And the next project is The Sandman Season 2 from Netflix, which is also in development. I heard very good things about Sandman Season 1. So yes, Season 2 is apparently also in development. The next project is a massive one, and it is the Val Zod Superman movie, the live action film, with Michael B. Jordan and his production company Outlier Society are developing their own Black Superman project for HBO Max that centers on Val Zod's incarnation of the character. Now, Val Zod is the Superman from Earth 2, where he is one of the last Kryptonians and the second to assume the mantle of Superman. The character was orphaned after his parents were executed by Krypton's High Court, though he was found on Earth 2 by Terry Sloan, who offered the young alien asylum to protect him from the outside world. Ellis, on the other hand, is the Superman of Earth 23, where he is the President of the United States. It was reported that J.J. Abrams and the production company were planning on making a Clark Kent Superman movie, but making black. Michael B. Jordan was asked if he wanted the role, but turned down in favor of making a movie about Val Zod, who is an actual black character in the comics. I like this decision. I'd rather have black characters have their stories told instead of just race swapping a white character just because he's more popular and well known to fans. Michael B. Jordan may not be starring in this movie, but it seems he will either be producing or directing it. Also, it seems this movie is not cancelled, and I am very much looking forward to this. Oh my god, like having a Val Zod Superman movie, having this iteration of Superman where even I've never seen his story come to life, I've never read any comic, I've never seen anything about Val Zod, and I really want this story, I really want this character to come to life, I really want another Superman. We haven't had enough Clark Kent, we definitely haven't had enough Clark Kent, we want that Clark Kent Superman movie now that we're gonna get it, and the fact that so far this movie hasn't been cancelled, I'm very excited because now we're on track to get Superman Legacy, the Val Zod Superman movie, and also a bunch of Batman movies. Like, that is my flipping dream for DC right now. And just the other projects that James Gunn announced was also amazing too. So now let's move on to the Arrowverse, CW, and existing shows lineups that will fall under the DC Elseworld banner. The Flash Season 9 is coming early 2023 and will have, I think, 13 episodes. And this will actually end the current Arrowverse, well, a majority of it anyway. Would kind of be the true kind of ending of the Arrowverse. And I was a fan of The Flash for a long time. I mean, I still am, but I never watched like the later seasons. I stopped watching after the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I love the fact that the DCEU's Flash crossed over with this Flash, and it was just like the multiverse and the Kingdom Come Superman. Like, if you haven't watched that, you have to go ahead and watch. I would say all the at least go and watch all the crossovers that were in the Supergirl, Flash, Arrow shows. Like, they had like massive crossovers with so many DC characters that I discovered because of those crossovers and those shows. So the Flash will always be, Grant Gustin will always be, you know, my Flash. And whoever is the next Flash after Ezra Miller, I don't believe it will be Grant Gustin, but I hope that we get some kind of multiverse story, like a Flash movie announced, and it is a multiverse story, and we have multiple versions of the Flash, even though we're kind of going to be getting that this year with the new Flash movie. But I'm sure like Ezra Miller is playing a majority version of the Flash. I don't think anyone else is going to be playing Flash. Obviously, we don't know that, but it seems like he's going to be playing like 3 or 4 different versions of the Flash. Where I thought, I would love to see different actors get to play the role of the Flash in those movies. But the next project is Justice U with John Diggle from the Arrowverse, and the premise of the show is that John Diggle embarks on a new mission to recruit 5 young metahumans to live undercover as freshmen at a prestigious university, and there he will oversee their education and train them to become the heroes of tomorrow. The status of this show is unknown, and it may have a first season, so this one is likely to get a first season. And again, with Flash ending the Arrowverse, this one could still be slightly part of the Arrowverse, but maybe like it's unconnected and they kind of like don't reference the Arrowverse at all, if they want it to remain, or because I don't really understand how they're gonna. Apparently Flash is supposed to end the Arrowverse, but then you're kind of getting this new show set within the Arrowverse, so I don't know what's going on there. The next project is Stargirl Season 3 coming to CW, and this will be Stargirl's final season. I've also heard great things about Stargirl, so that one's also going to be coming to its end. The next project is Titans Season 4, and it will be its season finale as well. That's it, its final season for Titans. I thought Season 1 was good. Season 2 was just, I watched all of it and I was like entertained, but it was just terrible. And Season 3, I just watch it here and there for like cheap TV. So I'm not really a fan of Titans, but I kind of like to see like the thing about Titans is they have so much good characters like Starfire, Nightwing, and you kind of still want to see their live action versions. And that's the reason why I would always keep going back to Titans, just to see the live action versions. But I think the show is hilarious when it's not even trying to be funny. The next show is Doom Patrol, and now this Doom Patrol Season 4 will also be its final season, and Brendan Fraser's in this, and Brendan Fraser's had a resurgence of late, so it's funny that, it's kind of crazy actually, not funny, but it's crazy that this show is going to come to an end, because Doom Patrol is actually one of the most underrated series apparently, and I haven't watched it yet. I've seen Doom Patrol within the Titans Season 1, as they like basically had an episode where Doom Patrol and Titans meet, and that was going to set up the Doom Patrol series, and I was always meaning to watch it after Titans, but I never ever got around to it. So I'm definitely going to be watching Doom Patrol. I think I'm going to watch all 4 seasons and just have that one of my shows that I'm going to watch this year. The next show is Pennyworth, which just finished its 3rd season in November 2022 and hasn't been cancelled yet, but also it hasn't officially been renewed for a 4th season. However, the showrunners are promising a more bonkers 4th season if it is renewed. The next project is Gotham Knights, the 1st season, and it's set for the CW on March 14th, and it looks absolutely dreadful. It looks terrible. It is, just by looking at the trailer and the premise for the show and the actors and just the way it looks, it's going to be the worst CW show of all time. It's going to be one of the worst shows on TV when it is on TV, and that is March 14th. So let's not talk about it, because this is definitely 100%, I'm even 99% sure with this. This is definitely going to get axed. The next project is Superman and Lois Season 3 on March 14, with producers saying the show has at least 1 or 2 more seasons left. I've also heard very good things about this show, but also I've heard that it's kind of strayed into some boring storylines, that CW drama kind of thing. So I'm not sure whether or not this will be axed or not, but people seem to like this. And again, it's another Superman, Val Zod Superman, we're getting Superman Legacy, and you still got Superman and Lois, the TV live action. There's a lot of Superman coming, from having, no Superman movie in years. Now we're going to be getting the Clark Kent Superman that we always wanted. Then we're also going to hopefully be getting Val Zod. And if you still want Superman for now, the TV live action is still there. The next project is Sweet Tooth Season 2, coming in early 2022, which is a second season, where a second season was confirmed that will continue the adventure of the titular half deer and half human type character and his protective adult travel companion in post-apocalyptic America. Now, I haven't watched Season 1, and I don't know anything about this show. I didn't even know it was a thing. I'm sure, actually, I do think I've seen like a half deer guy on Netflix. Like I've seen like the thumbnail for it on Netflix, but I never thought that it was a DC show, and he never had a DC label on it or anything. So I guess that's exciting for those fans of Sweet Tooth right there, you're getting a season 2, and hopefully maybe this show can continue, as it's not really connected to anything, even DC. Now let's get into the DC animated Elseworlds lineup, with the first project being Harley Quinn season 4 releasing this year in 2023. I've just started this show, and with 2 episodes in, it's pretty good so far, and I've heard high praises from a lot of people who have like watched loads of seasons of this, literally all the seasons of this show. It's by the second season, it's supposed to get really good and have some amazing characters, and Bane is supposed to be one of the top characters, and so I'm definitely gonna be sticking around with this show for a while. The next project is Batwheels. It's a season for kids, it's an animated show based on the Batmobile. The next show is My Adventures with Superman, which has a 2-season order at Cartoon Network and stars Jack Quaid from The Boys, who plays Huey and plays Superman in this show as a young Clark Kent. The next show is Batman the Caped Crusader, which is an animated Batman series. Though originally set to premiere on HBO Max and Cartoon Network, it was eventually announced the series would instead be shopped out to other outlets. The series is said to be a reimagining of the Batman mythology, with Tim, Reeves and Abrams describing it as thrilling, cinematic and evocative of Batman's noir roots, while diving deeper into the psychology of these iconic characters. So it's crazy that HBO Max or HBO Warner Bros. Didn't want this show and kind of shopped it out to other outlets, and I'm sure there hasn't even been anyone that picked it up yet. A lot of people saying, why don't Netflix buy this and stuff, but I haven't heard anything about any other outlets buying this property, this show, which seemingly is supposed to be very interesting, and a lot of people were excited for this, and it's unfortunate that it's even being shopped around and not coming to the HBO platform. But maybe James Gunn will change that. I'm not sure about anything with this show, but I really want to actually see it. This is one of the animated shows that I was actually really excited about. Then we got Noonan's, a spin-off of the Harley Quinn show of the character Kite Man, who has his own villain hangout spot. Described as an animated Cheers-esque comedy, it will have 10 episodes, with the next project being Teen Titans Go, which will continue to bring on the jokes and action in its 8th season, which Deadline reports was announced in development in February 2022. Now, Teen Titans Go, it's one of those shows, it's so good. It actually is so good. And the movies as well, there's movies attached to the show. And I honestly really enjoy Teen Titans Go. And even James Gunn himself gave Teen Titans Go a shout out when he was talking about the Elseworld project, when he mentioned Batman Joker. He even mentioned Teen Titans Go. I mean, Teen Titans Go, it's going on its 8th season. And I was a fan of the original Teen Titans cartoon, as I'm sure a lot of you were. But these are the same characters, but way funnier, and it's not dramatic. And I think when it was first coming out, I was kind of like scoffed at it, because it was like, oh my god, look what they're doing to these characters. And then when I actually watched the show, I was like, whoa, this is pretty good. So Teen Titans Go, I'm glad it got a shout out, man. The next project is the untitled The Night Begins to Shine series, which is getting the first season on Cartoon Network. The 80s style 2005 dance song The Night Begins to Shine by BER has been featured prominently in Teen Titans Go, most notably in a 4-part special from 2017 about a mystical musical land and its 5-part 2020 sequel. Well, said mystical land will now be the focus of a Cartoon Network original spin-off series, which reportedly went into development in February 2021. That's according to Cinema Blend. The next project is Legion of Superheroes, the animated HBO Max show. It's in early development and doesn't seem to be cancelled yet, although a Legion of Superheroes animated film is about to be released, and I think it has been released as of today. Maybe this will not go forward, but there were no updates on this project yet. They haven't said anything about Legion of Superheroes, the animated show, whether it's been cancelled, what's going on with it, did the movie replace it? I have no idea what's going on with that. But the next project is DC Superhero High, another HBO Max animated show that we don't know whether or not it's been cancelled. Teens facing common issues that come with growing up while attending a boarding school for superpowered youths is the premise of this DC Comics inspired comedy series. In 2019, Deadline reported that actress Elizabeth Banks is also producing DC Superhero High for HBO Max. Now here's something I didn't know was going on behind the scenes over at DC over this last couple of years. I mean, over the last probably 5 years or so, that J.J. Abrams is developing his own Justice League Dark universe. Now, it seems that this universe is in some kind of development hell, as no projects have really come out in regards to this universe, but it also hasn't been officially cancelled. So it could be going on. I'm sure J.J. Abrams and James Gunn are really good friends. So he might have explained his idea and James Gunn might have said, you know what? all right, it can exist in the Elseworld, but here are some of the projects that are amongst this new universe, this Justice League Dark universe. Now, we've already talked about Constantine 2, which supposedly with J.J. Abrams as a producer on that show, and Constantine being one of probably the main focus of the Justice League Dark, that probably movie will tie in and maybe be the first movie in terms of the Justice League Dark universe. And the fact that that was greenlit like within the last couple of months, maybe that means like, yes, this Justice League Dark universe is gonna remain, it's gonna be built, and I'm very excited for that. Another one, so maybe after this Constantine 2 movie, we'll get one of these projects, which the first being the Untitled Justice League Dark series. Now, Justice League Dark is an unofficial branch of the Justice League that specializes in situations of more of the supernatural sort. Now, J.J. Abrams is developing a series for HBO Max that will put the spotlight on this dark and fantastic property. HBO and HBO Max programming chief Casey Bloys told THR in February 2022 that Justice League Dark is still a high priority for Abrams and his production company Bad Robot. So I actually do want this Justice League Dark universe to remain. The next project is Justice League Dark Constantine. However, this was supposedly cancelled, but Constantine 2 starring Keanu Reeves was greenlit recently. Then we got the Zatana movie with Emerald Fennell penning the screenplay, which we talked about earlier in this video. The next one is Madame X, a series that would have focused on Madame Xanadu, but this project was cancelled. So now that James Gunn has officially revealed his plan for the DC universe, I don't know if he will end up axing this Justice League Dark universe and keep some projects like Constantine 2 and maybe a Zatana film or something, but maybe because he wants to have some of these properties that would, when it comes to the supernatural sort of the Justice League members, someone like Swamp Thing is kind of perfect for the Justice League Dark universe, but Swamp Thing has now also been greenlit for a live action horror film within James Gunn's new DC universe. So maybe J.J. Abrams' universe will be axed, but some projects will remain because James Gunn wants to implement, a lot of the Justice League Dark characters seems like James Gunn would want to tackle those characters, and he would want these characters to come into the Justice League at the right time. And already we're getting Swamp Thing in the first chapter, and you know, the fact that it's gods and monsters and Swamp Things and monsters, I mean, you can just see the themes within his new universe. But let's move on to the DC animated films. One of the most, probably the best media of DC are its animated film. It's literally the best. The stories of this, the literal, even the voice acting, everything about this, the visuals, it's literally been 100,000 times better than the DCEU movies as of recently, and even a lot of them are better than Marvel movies. So you really have to go ahead and check out quite a few of these DC animated films. But let's get on to the new ones that will be maybe labeled as DC Elseworld, as some of them are already coming out. Like March 28th, we're going to be getting Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham, releasing on Blu-ray and DVD. A lot of these movies, I think nearly all of these movies, released on Blu-ray and DVD in March 28th, 2023. Is an entry in the excellent DC Elseworlds label that sees characters set in alternate timelines and reality. So it's already kind of labeled DC Elseworlds just because it's set in an alternate timeline and reality. So there you go. I mean, DC Elseworld is not a new thing if anyone didn't know. It's been around for a long time. It's kind of like what they do, a what if in the comics, but now we're going to be getting that more prominent in every project that isn't related to the DC universe. This particular title revolves around Batman prowling the streets of 1928 Gotham, pitted against mystical and supernatural enemies, as well as some staple villains. Also appearing in the book are Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, and Green Arrow. The next one is The Legion of Superheroes, releasing February 7, 2023. The film will follow Kara, aka Supergirl, as she deals with the devastating loss of Krypton. Her cousin Superman suggests that they leave this space-time in order to attend the Legion Academy in the 31st century. The Supergirl makes new friends, but also must deal with powerful enemies, for example Brainiac 5. If that weren't enough, a secret society called the Dark Circle is attempting to capture some powerful weapons kept in the Academy's vault. The next project is a big one, and it's Justice League Warworld, which is coming out this year sometime. This will be the first Justice League story in the DC Animated Universe interconnected canon, the Tomorrowverse. The previous run started with the famous event, the Flashpoint Paradox, and ended with Apocalypse War, and you guys have to watch those DC animated movies. And it literally ends with Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. I mean, both the Justice League Dark animated films are amazing, so you have to go ahead and watch those, guys. It left the universe scarred, but this series of narratives feel a lot fresher and ready for action. This new league will take on their first mutual enemy in Justice League Warworld, which will be released in 2023. The main players have already been introduced in other projects. Fans will recall that Justice League in Green Lantern, Beware My Power, had both Martian Manhunter and Green Arrow. Then we're going to get a RWBY/Justice League crossover movie. I don't know if it's a movie or a series. I think it is a movie. And it's a crossover between those two properties. Then we're going to be getting a Batman Azteca Choc de Imperios. This Batman film will be set in an alternate history, which a young Aztec boy must survive after his father, the leader of his village, is murdered by Spanish conquistadors in a mode similar to Batman Ninja. You can expect this film to have everything you love about Batman's story, but told through the voice of an ancient Aztec tribal shaman. Now that's it for the movies and TV shows and just the amazing amount of projects that are in the works at DC. But I also wanted to quickly mention that if rumors are true, that the Batman Arkham verse will be rebooted with the upcoming Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, with supposedly the Flash resetting the universe at the end of the game, which will also clean the gaming Arkham universe, the gaming DC universe, for James Gunn to announce new games for his rebooted DC universe. Now, of course, I just wanted to give some of my thoughts at the end with all these projects and, you know, just the amount of characters that we're going to be coming to the screen, not only in the Elseworld projects, but of course, James Gunn's new DC universe. Now, some of the characters I really want to see are the Green Arrow and the Flash. Now, we're already going to be getting a Flash movie this year, but hopefully at Comic-Con this year, we also get the announcement of the fact that there will be a Flash movie, because again, this was only part of chapter 1. This isn't all of chapter 1, and I hope we get some details about a Flash movie and what the Flash, because the Flash is, I really want him to be like a main member of this DC universe, and I also want him to be like a prominent role in the DC universe as well. And also Green Arrow, I feel like we haven't got a true version of Green Arrow for a long time, unless you've been watching like the animated films and stuff. I really want a live action Green Arrow, and the fact that we're getting both Green Lanterns, it's just so amazing. I love that decision so much. I'm so excited, and I really do think that the DC universe is in truly good hands. Of course, we're going to have to see if it's the right hands, if everything comes out the way we want it to. And, you know, we got promised that with the first DC universe, with Zack Snyder's vision, and whatever the DC Studios vision was, when, you know, these projects were announced, we were going to get Justice League Part 1, Flash, Aquaman, entitled DC film, probably Batman vs. Deathstroke, and Justice League Part 2, and then hopefully it's supposed to be a trilogy of Justice League movies, but hopefully this will all come to fruition. Hopefully everything James Gunn, I mean, I really do kind of trust him at this stage. I really do trust him, and I love that. I'm one of those people that really like the fact that he is adding like these unknown characters. And I think he is. I really do. I really want the best for DC Universe. I'm sure a lot of you do. But I really, really want the best for the DC Universe. And I want every one of these projects to find major success. And I hope it doesn't have that kind of stigma with the audience where, oh, it's a DC movie, we don't need to go watch it. Like Black Adam. I mean, look at Black Adam. I think that would have been a movie that should have made, like, you know, not $1 billion maybe, but like maybe like the Batman, you know how the Batman made like 700-800 million. Maybe Black Adam should have made that. It definitely should have, with The Rock attached to it and being kind of marketed, you know, by The Rock slowly over the years, and then heavily marketed during regarding up to the release of the movie. I really hope like
that these franchises and these movies, especially like the new ones like The Authority and Creature Commandos is an animated series, so I don't think that's gonna do that well. That's kind of like a small kind of project in a way, but I'm excited for the future of the DC universe. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Peace out, God bless, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Take care, guys. Not to run away.